back in the limelight. Yay! Another extraordinary entrepreneur is with us today, and so much more. She's also part of my mastermind. But I do want to remind you, first of all, it's been a minute since I've been producing, but we are back in the new season. Really so excited about the people that we've got coming up in the next months, and I think you're going to be too. So first of all, I do want to remind you that you are going to be able to see this video on Binge, Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire. You're also going to see it on Google Play, Daily Motion, and 100 other smart television apps. You are going to be able to hear the podcast on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, TuneIn, and Verbal. And there's more. There's more coming, which is exciting. Don't forget that the magazine can be seen, and our last iteration of the magazine should be here somewhere. There she is. In the Limelight with Clarissa. And we've got Gloria Felt on the cover, can be seen on pressreader.com and then over at clarissaburt.com. And I always want to shout out to my good friends at my news desk who are doing really extraordinary. We had a fabulous meeting this morning, and we're going to be doing some great things here in the United States, but they get out my press releases and news releases, and it's been a real pleasure to work for them. Okay, that has been said, and I've done what I was supposed to do, but I'm really thrilled to bring on my next guest. Again, as I said, not only because she is a part of the In the Limelight Blast Her Mind. If you want to know more about that, get with me, because that's an exciting place to be as well. As we go through my book, which is over there somewhere, we'll talk about that later. So Kelle Sutliff is our guest today. She is a gifted psychic medium. And I know what you're thinking. You're going, oh, now a lot of people, when they hear psychic and they hear medium, they go, woo-woo. No, we're not talking that here. We're talking about somebody that is being called in by the FBI. It's called in by police forces that is helping with find people that are either deceased or lost or have been trafficked. This is something that is really an extraordinary gift that has been given to her. And I can't wait for her to tell us more about it. So I'm going to bring her on. There she is, Kelle. We're going to talk about your new book. Yes, congratulations.
Hey, thank you.
Congratulations on the new book. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But tell me, and the book's name is Spirit Speaks Within You. And
That's right.
Right. And you're going to be able to tell us a little bit more about that, because I think there are some people that think that this might be made up or hoaxy or concocted or not real in some way. What say you to those naysayers?
You know what? My work is actually no one raises their hand to be a psychic medium, right?
Yeah.
So when we have that kind of situation where people really don't want to believe this because it could be involved with, people think it's woo-woo, like you said in your introduction. My work actually, I've been doing this for 18 years. And in my line of work, what happens is that I'm a real person who has to prove it, validate it, how it works. That's how I live my life. When I do a reading for someone, I have to validate information. I have to go forward and ask actually whether or not that this is true, give me some more information on how to validate so my clients would know. So the last 2 years, we've all been through a lot of crazy in our world, right? We've all learned, we've all grown, we've all had to learn how to flow. We've all had to learn how to challenge what belief systems were and what was happening with our world and our government and, what was going on in our own personal lives. So it challenged us a lot. So it was during that time, I had written a few books beforehand, or part of them. My first book was Listen Up, The Other Side is Talking, and it talked a lot about my work. And then this book was very channeled, and I decided to do a book that would be a guide or a reference book that you could just read a quick chapter, find information, how it would help you, put it down, read it again. Very similar to like your book, what I mean, you just recently put out. So so is a source, right? Because I believe we're all about source. We're all about sources right now, how the importance of that is. We're finding our sources. And this book, Spirit Within You, is about finding your own internal source. So it dabbles in lots of areas. It talks about flow. It talks about fear. It talks about children, what parents should be doing with children now. It talks about your own self. It talks about growth. It talks about many different aspects. It talks about what's happened in the last 2 years and with the pandemic. So when I started to write it, it was really more like a divinely guided gift to everybody. And since we've launched it, knock on wood, we've done really well with it. So it's gone number one in 3 different countries, in Australia, Canada, the United States, Germany, that's 4. So it's hit a lot of markers, so which is telling me the message is there. So like when you write a book too, right? You're all about, we got to get the message out, and we got to all be all about like where this book can take you, what the importance of that, right?
Right.
And sometimes when we write a book, Clarissa, you know what? It takes a life of its own, and we're like, holy schmoly, like I would have never written anything like that, right? And the words, when you look at the paper after you write it or type it, you're like, wow, that was given to you. So this book is based on everything that's happened in the last 2 years, what we've been dealing with. So spirit, as I say, when I read for clients, and divine energy, you know what I mean? This is the message that was given when I've written this. And each chapter is just a quick hit, you know what I mean? It's given a lot of instrumental advice, and then it's also given a lot of quotes and people can kind of dwell on and think things through. So it's something that every aspect of every age group can use.
Right. So okay. So Kelle, in your case, is the gift that you have, was it something you were born with, or is it something you acquired along the way? And,
Well, it's both. So, you know what? Like I said, when you have psychic ability, or when you have it you're born with it, right? Intuitive. It comes along in families. Okay, so you often find like families who, my grandmother was very intuitive. And she was a farmer in Illinois, and she would plant the crops by the moon cycles. And she was a really intuitive lady. This was my mother's mother. And my first experience happened when I was 9 years old. After she had passed away, she had come through and come to me in dream state, and gave me a message to give to my mother. And my mom was like, "Wow, Kelle, that's beautiful, and glad Grandma Sloan came to visit you, but put your uniform on and come down for breakfast," right? You know what I mean? This was my world as a young kid. So I would know things when they would happen, before they would happen, constantly. So, but being a mom, as my mother would be, she was very protective, right? Like, okay, Kelle, don't tell anybody what you know.
Wow.
And because here I am, a girl at 12 years of Catholic school, right? Okay.
Right.
And so, but what happened was, which was very interesting, it would ebb and flow throughout my life. And I would always have people in my dreams I never knew. All right. I never would dream about people I knew. And except when people would come and visit who were passed. So as my life continued, you know what? I met a priest who was a family friend. He actually co-officiated my husband Tom's and I wedding, Father Wally. And here I am, like 19, 20 years old. A priest shows up, friend of my family's, and he's very psychic. And he looks at me, and we were talking. He goes, "You are very gifted." And he was into the psychic. He was into, crystals. He was,
looking at you?
yeah. And so he guided me. So here I am. I'm like, oh, don't talk about this stuff, going through 12 years of school, Catholic school. And then a priest shows up, and here he helps me. So you can't make this up, right? So as my world continues with this, what happened was I kind of opened it up, shut it off, took some classes, how to develop, that kind of thing. And then I just went into work world, right? And I had a really successful real estate career, and my children were very babies. I had 3 kids in 3 years. My girls were Irish twins. And all of a sudden I'm like making baby formula in my kitchen. And one day, and all of a sudden I do that, and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to do this psychic thing again. And as soon as I said that, the floodgates came open.
Yeah.
I was feeding babies all night long. Okay. Cause I had an infant and an 11-month-old and a 3-year-old. I was having spirit in my house. I'm like, what the hell did I just do? And what happened? And I was like, somebody's got to help me with this. So I took a year intense class on modalities, and it was psychic, it was mediumship, it was dowsing, it was astrology, it was anything they would come in and teach. Well, 2 mediums show up, to come teach this course. And as they come in, we had to like do speed reading, like a speed dating, but you
Right.
speed read
Right.
people
Right.
and go to person. And all of a sudden I was bringing all these people through, and they said to me, "You're a natural medium," because this is what I was like as a little girl. I would always have people in my dreams. I was crossing people through, or people were, coming in and using my energy to go wherever. And so I learned to fine tune it. So to answer, there was a long-winded story, but to answer your question, when you are intuitive, you shouldn't be fearful of it. And when you break down your fears and you study it, like anything, like if you want to be an actress or you want to be a model or you have to take classes, right? You got to figure out how to do that. And so, you know what? That's what you have to do to be a really good medium or psychic, I feel. So I studied for 2 years with people all around the world to try to figure out how to fine tune this gift.
Wow.
So to answer your question, yes, you are. Everyone's intuitive. Everyone's got psychic ability,
So
hunches,
they do.
intuition.
Everyone does have the ability. Okay.
Yes.
Even
But
if
what you have to do is, if you choose to use it, you have to learn boundaries with it.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal, because it's not like, programs that are out there where people are bumping into people at Costco. Okay. Oh, I have your mother here. Oh, I have your father here. You know what? Because of those type of programming, what's happened in my industry is there's a lot of charlatans out there
Yeah.
who will go into Costco or go into places and pretend they're psychics to
Right.
make money off of people. Okay. Because we've got a 50-50 chance to say, hey, their father's passed away or what have you, right?
Yeah.
And give me $50 and I'll give you a reading.
Right.
So in a good way, media has really helped our industry. And in a bad way, it's gone the other way, because it's become like, a different type of arena. And I don't like that. So
Yeah.
I'm a real straight shooter and forward with the line of work that I do, especially when I've gone into missing persons work.
Yeah.
And that's where, and not a lot of psychic mediums want to do detective work. They don't want to do missing persons work because it's hard work. And one, you feel information, you see information. And when we work on a case, I got my first case 12 years ago. And when you work on a case, what happens is you're only given, or a detective will only give me, or a family member will only give me, and this is all I want, is I want the person's name, a picture, where they went missing, and their birth date. That's it. And I just look at that information, and then I'm able to go into my psychic press release, I call it, which is the who, what, when, where, how. Okay, why this person's missing. And then as I connect into the read, I can feel and tell where the information is coming from. So I can tell if this information is coming through someone who's passed, died,
Right.
or I can tell if the information is actually coming from another source when I'm linking. And that tells me whether or not the person's passed or alive. And so you go in very vague, where detectives will have a whole laundry list of resources, right?
Right. Sure.
Whereas a psychic doesn't, because get information like that. So what happens is then the information is passed off to a detective or I'm working with, or a family member that I'm working with. And then, we get into components. So we get into, if this person's truly missing, okay, where are they missing? So when I get the last address of where they were and what I see or what I feel, then I go into components to say, okay, where this is where they may be located.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very detailed, and the information is very, it comes in very fast. And then the hard part in my work with that kind of industry work there is you got to find legit people to work with who are detectives. That's what I have found, because I run into the problem when I go into a situation when I'm looking at missing persons work.
Mm-hmm.
I find some agencies are better to work with than others. Some detectives are obviously better, but here's the deal: is when I hear the words, "Oh, we got this," okay,
Okay.
let me tell you, those agencies don't got it.
Right.
And so I've come down to the
In
point
the sense of, we've got this, we don't need you.
yes.
Okay.
But when I hear those words, "we got this," I know they don't have nothing. Okay. And so, but with in that work, what happens, Clarissa, is that what I'm finding, especially if it's a cold case,
Mm,
you know, they'll take the information because I know they don't have it. But you know what? I've gotten into kind of, you know, not sticky, kind of like, I had to push my little weight around here and there because
yeah,
if I'm talking to an FAA, an agent on a missing persons case, if a girl's been sex trafficked,
right.
and I call with information because the families asked me to call them,
Sure.
and as soon as they hear who I am and my title,
Yeah.
I hear another psychic, right? But then I get to the point where I'm like, you don't have to take my information. You want it or not? And
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, no, 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 no." You know what I mean? Sure,
Yeah.
they'll take the
Right.
information,
Right.
but it's very difficult because what we've had right now with most of the cases I work on now, sadly, in the last probably 3 years are sex trafficked. So 12 years ago, I didn't have as many cases as I do now. But when we look at a lot of dynamics where people are go missing, all right, there you have to be careful. It's happening a lot, and it's only going to increase.
Yeah.
And it has increased based
Yeah.
on border issues that we're having in this country.
Yeah.
Um, it's pretty it's very rampant.
Well, Kelly, I'm going to go with, just your name alone. I mean, you're out there in the media. Had your own radio shows. You've been on ABC and Fox. You've been in the CBS, the Dr. Pat show, the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe. Like, you've been out there. People know who you are, and they know that you're the real deal. So I'd be thinking that the police would be very happy when you call through. But with that having been said, how about you, though? How does having the gift and being able to find cases, or work on cases that have sad endings, that have distraught endings, I mean, we're talking homicides, we could be talking suicides, and certainly all the dirty business behind trafficking and all the other things you work on. How do you rectify with yourself, you on the daily, you going from morning through the evening, just trying to be Kelle Sutliff, but you're
Mhm.
working on these cases that kind of bring you down. What do
You
you
know
do
what?
for you?
So what is very interesting is that um, let me tell you, the only way I can describe it is when I give information, it's accurate,
Mm,
or someone has been found.
yeah,
Okay, it's like getting the Academy Award.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. So that's why that's the momentum. That's why you do it. Because I always put myself in the shoes of a parent.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That panic, that fear of
Okay.
not knowing where somebody is. There's some things worse than death, and I'm telling you that would be one. That is one.
Exactly.
And so in the frustration, that happens when detectives, a lot of things happen in our world. Detectives, one, can get lazy. Two, everybody really wants to solve the case,
Yeah,
but there's also lack of funding
sure.
that has happened in this type of line of work. So
Yeah,
what happens is that, you throw yourself in there because you know what, you're there to aid, you're there to help.
yeah,
And I always say to everybody, I do this work because I work for the souls on the other side. I don't
yeah.
work for and the agencies here. I
Right.
work for them who are trying to get, because when someone dies tragically, somebody can't be found, their biggest message is they want to get back to their families. They want to get back to the information to them to say, I'm okay. This is where I am. Find me.
Are you ever
And who
asked
else
to
can do
work
that
on
but me?
Are you ever asked to work on a case, Kelly, where you just get nothing?
Never.
Never. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So there's
And
always get some hits from somewhere.
yeah. And what's amazing is when I get the confirmations with, especially if I've worked with family members, because they'll tell me, the information of accuracy, or when I've found a body or found somebody.
Wow.
And whereas you have the situation when you got to remember when someone goes missing, that's an active case.
Yeah.
So police can't give you information. They can't give the families information.
But you work on cold cases too.
I do. But you still, because it's a cold case is still an active case.
I see.
We don't get, I wouldn't get the confirmation. The detectives have to take the information and run with it and see where that goes.
Yeah.
The only
Let's
way
go
I would
back to
get
the book a
confirmation
second.
is that
Let's
the
go back.
information was proven.
Right. Let's go back to the book. I want to see it first of all. Let's hold it up so that everybody can see it. Let's talk about where we can get it. I want everybody to know exactly where they can find you also on social media. You can get Kelle on Facebook. The book, it's such a beautiful cover. I love the color blue you chose. It's so beautiful. Do you have it in front of you? Can you show it to us?
I do. Can you guys see it?
Beautiful, beautiful book. Look at that. Yeah, let's put it right. There you are, everybody. Spirit speaks within you. Yes, it does. And we're going to get to that in a second. I love the cover of the book. It is an international bestseller. How exciting is that? It's doing really well. Just dropped. So, I mean, guys, this is a superstar kind of situation. It's a rock star, Kelle. We've got Facebook. It's Facebook Medium Kelle. Kelle. We've got Twitter at Kelle Psychic. LinkedIn is Kelle-Sutliff.54047B47. We'll have it in the description. Don't worry. And then she's over on YouTube. You can find her there. She's on Instagram at Kelle.psychicmedium. Man, you're everywhere. That's so exciting. What's the one thing that you want everybody to know that thinks they might, they kind of are think that they're catching some, like they think they could be psychic, but not quite sure. I mean, they get the hits and some feelings, but they're not at your level. What would you suggest for them to do?
The best thing you can do to tune into your psychic ability is to get quiet. Get quiet. Get off your phones.
Could be a problem for me, Kelle.
I'll hold your hand. I'll hold your hand and get quiet together. Okay?
I told you. They told me I was
vaccinated.
I was vaccinated with a phonograph needle, But anyway, all right, get quiet. All right, okay. I will get quiet. And then what happens? What are you waiting? What are you waiting to hear in the silence?
Okay. So here, I'm going to teach everyone real quick. So this is the best to ground your energy. You have to be grounded. Okay. Everybody forgets that. We brush, every day we get ready for work. We, take a shower, we do our thing, take the kids to school, whatever we're doing, and what happens is we walk out of the house every day and we forget to ground our energy. Right. So it's like when your energy is not grounded and planted, okay, what happens is, you become chaotic and you take on too much. And when you take on too much, you can't get quiet in your mind. You race. All right. So every day, everybody should be grounding their energy. It takes 2 minutes. And, I always say to my clients, do this in the shower. All right. Because you're starting your day first time, in the morning, no one can bug you.
Yeah.
So the water is a great spiritual light, right? That comes above your head. Envision it just flowing through your chakras, going down, washing your problems down the drain, talking nice to yourself. Today, I am doing this today. I have this in my life. See dates, see things coming to you. Give your affirmations. But you make your affirmations either past or you make them present. Don't use the word hope, because the word hope to the universe means, does Clarissa mean 20 minutes, 20 years, 20 days? Okay. So hope's a great concept, but it doesn't get us where we need to be. So when you start to methodically do that, and you can do it at night, having a cup of tea, glass of wine, whatever, but just take 2 minutes, you get quiet. And in that moment, ask a question. Okay. Am I meant to do this book? Am I meant to, whatever your questions are, get a new job? Should I look for a new job? The first thought that you hear in your head is your guides talking. And ask yes and no questions. Then take it up another notch. Signs are huge, super important in what spirit can give us, when our loved ones can give us for confirmations. Mm-hmm. So what you do is you, ask for a sign. So you give the sign. Everybody does it wrong. Everybody, when they want to communicate to a loved one, they're like, oh, give me a sign, give me a sign. Okay, it's like, you know what? It's like dialing your phone and I want to call you, but I don't dial the numbers. So how can I get in touch with you? Well, it's the same thing with spirit. you need to give them the sign, like dialing a number on your phone to call somebody. So say, if I'm meant to date this person, let's say,
Right.
you know what? I want to see a 7-Up can.
Oh my
All right.
gosh, you can dial it in that deep.
Okay. So so listen. So 7-Up can. I mean, I just made this off in my head.
Okay, I know.
Make your sign obscure. All right. What happens is, one, you'll remember it. All right. Two, all of a sudden, before you know it, you're going to see old ads for 7-Up soda. You're gonna walk through the grocery store, turn the corner, and there's a whole shelf of 7-Up staring at you. Or you're gonna hear the number 7, or you're gonna keep hearing the word up, 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 up. So those are answers for you for how to link. So what you're doing is you're linking. So there's 2 ways everybody should be doing to linking to spirit. Give signs, okay? And you know what? And I'll give a quick example how this worked. So I was, wanting to connect in with my mom and dad who had passed away. And I was just like, okay, I just need to know that you're okay. Right. So my mom loved daisies and she always loved white daisies. And so I was like, okay, mom, your sign I'm giving you today is white daisies. And then I was like, okay, dad, today my sign for you is pretzel rods. Okay. Pretzels. So I'm shopping in Walmart, right? And anyways, I look and all of a sudden in the bouquet section, there are all these rainbow colored daisies and there's one bouquet of white daisies. I turn the corner, all right, get my white daisies. I turn the corner and there's a huge display of pretzel rods. So of course I grabbed pretzel rods. I didn't need pretzel rods, okay, and I really didn't need daisies. But you know what I mean? That's symbolic, and it just made you feel like, oh, they are around me.
I was reading, even on your website, you say, that spirits, the other side, whatever we want to call it, they want to give us messages. They're looking forward to giving us messages.
Right.
It's up to us to listen.
And you're right. And that's why Spirit Within You, in the book, I teach you how to do this. I give examples. I talk about flow and how important that is.
Yeah.
We have become, as a society, the last 2 years, so many people have become too fear-based, right?
Yeah.
And we have to stop that because fear only creates chaos and doesn't make us grounded. So when you learn those tools, and they're so simple, you know what I mean, to bring that into your world,
Right.
and teach your children how to do it is the most important. Is
You
super
do talk
important.
about flow. So first of all, what exactly is flow? And secondly, you've got a question in your book that says, what circumstance closed you off from your intuitive flow? Was there something that in fact, you were told, or were you told it was evil, or anyway, answer that. What is flow, and how do we know if we're closed off from it?
So a few things is that when you're living your life, here's the analogy that I feel about what flow means when you take FLOW, right?
Mm-hmm.
So flow means follow your instinct.
Mm-hmm.
L for flow means love.
Right.
And then we go into what do you call the O, which is outwardly accept. So we have to outwardly accept good things that happen and negative things that happen. You have to accept them. All right. And in the word of flow, the W is always the win. We always want to win.
Yeah.
But you know what? When we confuse, follow, love, outwardly accept, we never get the win. We never get the W. So it's until we look at that in our decisions, our lives, our choices, that's how we always have flow. So what happens on the other flip side, when we're taught as young kids, just as an example, children are psychic until really around the age of 7. Okay, so open. We all were.
Right.
So it's when something happens in their life, someone says, "Oh, you can't think that way," or you're you know what? Oh, that's bad stuff. Don't use your intuitive gifts, right?
Yeah.
Or a situation happens and they're shamed on something, or it's too biblical or whatever people want to go into.
All this, yeah.
Old school thinking of things like that. What happens is we squelch it, and then we have to reopen it to learn it
Right. Right.
in psychic ability. But when you can keep flow in your life and just remember those words that really matter, well, what occurs then is that, you know what, you get the win all the time.
Yeah. Awesome.
And it's when we botch those scenarios, with it can be people around us, it can be you know what I mean, jobs maybe we shouldn't have taken because we were in chaos or desperate or whatever. That's the kind of component that we have to say, okay, how do we get back into that flow?
Right.
And when we start to manage that, then that's when you have, you know, connection.
Connection.
And that's the major question. We all want connection.
Everybody wants connection. We want to connect to you, Kelle. That's what we want to do. And we want to get your book. Absolutely. Let's see the cover one more time because it's so darn gorgeous. I want to look at it one more time. There it is, everybody. The Spirit Speaks Within You. It's some beautiful imagery, too. I love the cover. And your pictures are, your pictures are beautiful, too. I don't know who the photographer is, and hair and makeup's all gorgeous. You're looking all beautiful and
Thank you.
Beautiful and beautiful. All right. I know that we can get the book at Amazon. Is there anywhere else that you'd like to call a shout out?
You know what? It's on Amazon right now. You can get it through Barnes and Noble. You can get it on everywhere, really. You know, so it's just, you know, wherever you want to plug this book in, it's there. So,
Absolutely.
but thank you so much.
Congratulations to you, to the work that you do, to the amount of the people that you've helped in very hard situations. And to the closure that you brought to many families. That's an extraordinary gift to have for sure. And poo-poo the police that don't want to believe, but I think that in the end they finally do.
Yeah.
And everybody go get the book. I mean, there's so much in here that I think is so interesting to learn. I'm going to delve into it. I know I am. And Kelle, again, thank you so much for being on the show. I really do wish you continued success on your book. All right, everybody, we're going to say goodbye for now, and we will be seeing you again very, very soon at another show with another yet extraordinary entrepreneur. Bye for now.